You ever have one of those weeks where you can feel the chaos rolling in before it even hits? That was my Monday, the kind where your gut tells you, buckle up, something's coming, but you still think, maybe if I drink enough coffee, I'll outrun it. So there I was, the smell of fresh coffee and sawdust filling my little custom furniture shop. Reclaimed revival. It's my pride and joy. You know, everything in there is something I built, something with a story, and usually it's a good story except when it isn't. Because as any small business owner will tell you, every customer walks in with their own backstory, and every so often, their drama lands right in your lap. So I'm just sanding down the last bit of a walnut coffee table, thinking about calling it an early day, when the front bell jingles that sharp little metallic ting that usually means money's about to walk through the door. This time, it was something else entirely. I look up, and there she is, mid-50s, haircut sharp enough to slice bread, sunglasses so big you'd think she was trying to avoid paparazzi, and a purse clutched to her chest like it was full of gold bars. She gives the place a once-over, like she's a detective at a crime scene, and then she fixes those sunglasses on me and says, "You're the owner," except she says it like the very concept personally offends her. I wipe my hands on a rag, give her my best. "What can I do for you?" and brace for impact. She steps in closer, perfume fighting the varnish smell, and lays into me. "I ordered that farmhouse bench 2 weeks ago, and it does not match the sample in your showroom." So that's where this is going. "Mrs. Cooper, right?" I say, remembering her order, the weathered oak finish. She nods, lips pursed tight. I try to explain every piece is handmade, the wood grain is different every time. That's kind of the whole charm, you know? "The charm?" she repeats, like I just told her I sell mud pies for a living. "My husband says it looks cheap. I want a refund." And right then, I know this is one of those customers. I explain as politely as I can that I can't refund a custom order that was built to spec, but if there's a real defect, I'll fix it. "There's a defect in your business ethics," she snaps, loud enough to turn heads from the cafe next door. I keep my cool, offer to refinish the piece if she wants, but she just waves me off, says, "Don't bother. My husband will be hearing about this." And I swear, she says it like it's a threat. I tell her, "Sounds good. Tell him I said hi. Maybe a little too dry." She shoots me a look that could freeze varnish, mutters something about small-time operations and reporting me to the show, and storms out. Heels clicking like gunfire. Now, I've dealt with my fair share of Karens, comes with the territory when you own a shop, right? But something about the way she said, "My husband will handle it," sticks with me longer than it should. That night, as I'm locking up, I notice this silver SUV just sitting across the street, lights off, no front plates, just idling. I tell myself it's nothing, maybe some delivery driver on break. But when I show up the next morning, the front door latch is scratched up and the wire to my security camera has been neatly snipped. Now I know for sure Mrs. Cooper's husband wasn't just hearing about it. He was planning something. That night, I wasn't even supposed to be there. I'd stayed late to finish a reclaimed oak dresser for a wedding client. Around 11:30 p.m., I hear it, that faint, deliberate sound of someone testing the back window. At first, I freeze. My shop's not big, one open floor, tools all along the walls, the air heavy with stain and steel. Only light in the place is the lamp on my bench. I shut it off, and suddenly I'm standing there in the dark, just moonlight spilling in from the front window. Then I hear the door handle rattle, and a man's voice, low and rough, right outside. "Cut it here." That's when it clicks. Karen's husband. I slip behind the counter, grab my phone, and call 911, my hands shaking, but my voice steady. "This is Reclaimed Revival on Maple." I whisper. "Someone's trying to break in." "Back door." The dispatcher asks if I'm safe. "For now," I say, and then crack with splinters. They're in. The guy who steps through is exactly who you'd picture, mid-50s, red-faced, beer gut hanging over his belt, crowbar in hand, swagger like he's seen too many action movies. "Where are you, tough guy?" he yells. "You think you can rip off my wife?" I stay put. Phone still on, line open. The dispatcher is whispering. "Units are on the way. Stay hidden." He stomps around, knocks over a display shelf, glass shattering. "This place is trash. You owe us $2,000, you fraud." He's not alone. Somebody else comes in, younger, twitchy, holding a phone flashlight. "Dude, just grab the stuff and go." But the older guy, Karen's husband, he's out for blood. "No, he's gonna learn." I can hear sirens in the distance. They start yanking at the register, which is, of course, empty. Then one of them spots my new security camera setup, the one I'd hidden in the storage closet that morning. Found it, the younger one says. He's got footage. Smash it, the husband orders. He raises the crowbar, and just then the front window explodes in a flash of blue and white. Police. Hands where we can see them. SWAT storms and lights everywhere, shouting, sawdust, and dust swirling. Both men drop, face first on the concrete. Cups clicking on wrists, louder than the sirens now. When the officer helps me out from behind the counter, I realize I've been holding my breath for a solid minute. Sir, he says calm but firm. You're lucky you called when you did. They weren't just here to steal. I look at the husband, who's now screaming about a misunderstanding. But when they pull out his backpack and find the lighter fluid and rags, it's obvious this wasn't about a refund. This was payback. Next morning, my shop looks like a crime scene because, well, it is. Boarded up window, yellow tape across the door, and the air still thick with lighter fluid and adrenaline. I haven't slept. Police reports, statements, and the realization that a suburban dad just tried to set my business on fire over a bench. I'm running on fumes and gas station coffee. Around 8 a.m., I hear that voice again. You've got to be kidding me, Karen. There she is outside the tape, hands on her hips, sunglasses gleaming like armor. Hair done up perfect, as if she took extra time to look judgmental at crime scene. What did you do? She demands. I stare at her stunned. What did I do? Your husband broke into my store last night with lighter fluid and a crowbar. She rolls her eyes. Oh, please. He was protecting our property. You refused a refund. He was making a point. I almost laughed, but my brain was too tired. He made a point. All right, straight to county jail. That's when she pulls out the HOA card. You realize this violates community standards? You've brought law enforcement into a residential business zone. There are rules here. I blink. You're seriously threatening to fine me because your husband got arrested? She doesn't even flinch. I'll be bringing this up at the next HOA meeting. This kind of drama doesn't belong in our neighborhood. I just can't believe it. Her husband gets hauled out by SWAT, and her first thought is the HOA bylaws. There's still 2 officers nearby. One overhears her. Ma'am, he says, try not to laugh. Your husband's looking at felony charges. I'd start with a lawyer before you worry about HOA meetings. Her face cracks for half a second. Then she huffs, storms off, heels stabbing the pavement like she's spelling out an angry letter. A few days later, I get the official police report. Turns out Mr. Cooper's got a record, a couple of property disputes in the past. Nothing that stuck, but now, with video evidence and a full SWAT response, he's not getting off so easy. I think maybe it's all over, until ding I get an email from the HOA president. Guy named Greg, who signs every email with warm regards like it's a veiled threat. Dear Mr. Lawson, we've received a complaint from Mrs. Cooper regarding disturbances caused by law enforcement activity at your business. Please be advised the board will discuss this at the upcoming HOA meeting. Attendance is strongly recommended. I stare at that email for a full minute before I just start laughing, that unhinged kind of laugh you get when you've gone through too much in too little time. Fine. If they want to make this an HOA issue, I'll bring my proof security footage, statements, and one very polite 911 recording. And when I walk into that meeting next week, with every neighbor watching like it's Sunday night TV, I know this isn't about a refund anymore. This is about them trying to shut me down for good. If you've never been to an HOA meeting, let me paint a picture. Plastic chairs, lukewarm coffee, neighbors pretending to be city officials because they once watched an episode of Law and Order. That night, the room is buzzing, all eyes on me, the troublemaker, the guy who brought SWAT to the neighborhood. Greg sits at the front, all tuck polo and white sneakers, dripping fake diplomacy. And right next to him, Karen, hair perfect, stacks of paper in front of her, ready to prosecute. Mr. Lawson, Greg begins, we're here to address a matter of public disturbance involving your business. Disturbance? I say, you mean the armed break-in? Karen smiles, all teeth. Your business created a spectacle, disturbed the peace, and violated HOA quiet hours. I lean in. Your husband broke into my store with lighter fluid. She gasps like I just cussed it at a funeral. You don't have to be rude. I shrug. You're lucky I'm not being buried rude. Greg clears his throat. Let's keep this civil. I set a USB stick on the table. Here's police body cam footage of your husband, holding a lit match, shouting about revenge. A ripple of whispers goes around the room. Greg looks like he's about to break into a sweat. Is that admissible? Absolutely, I say. It's public record now. Karen's face turns the color of spoiled milk. You can't. Actually, I can. I cut in. I've also got the police report, the insurance claim, and the 911 audio where the dispatcher says, and I quote, "Ma'am, please step back while SWAT secures the suspect." Dead silence. One of the older neighbors in the back raises her hand, real timid. So, are we finding him, or? Greg just rubs his forehead. We will need to review this before making a decision. I stand up. Don't worry. I've already made mine. My business is staying right where it is. And as for your refund, Mrs. Cooper, I let it hang, everyone watching her. Consider it handled by the SWAT team. Someone laughs, another actually claps. Karen just sits there, jaw locked, no script left, nothing to say. For once. So, if you thought Karen's refund request was wild, just wait till you hear what her HOA tries next. Smash that like button, drop your wildest Karen or HOA story in the comments, and tell me, where do you draw the line between justice and revenge? Seriously, I want to hear about it. Who knows, your story might just be the next one I tell.